Hello, good evening, welcome. This is a journalist hangout, and I am Jones Hussein. Welcome. Now, Lagos police moves against robberies, traffic robberies, arrest 28 suspects. PDP governors fail to agree on consensus national chairman. And later on the program, we'll talk about Amnesty International. It says Boko Haram resurgence increasing civilian fatalities in Nigeria and Cameroon. Let's tell you I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju. I have Emeka Madunagu, and of course, Lekon Shote. Yes. Okay, all right. So that's the outline. We'll be back shortly.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Gannaji, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
All right, then let's go. Christmas is in the air, and every living soul hopes to celebrate. The impending season provokes a rise in misdemeanor. Traffic robbery in Lagos has gained notoriety in recent times. The tendency for heavy shopping in the build-up to Yuletide is always there. So robbers and thieves know this as well, and so they exploit the occasion. The Lagos State Police Command is ahead of the felons, so to speak, and in a surprise raid arrested more than 30 suspects at Oshodi, one of the black spots in the city. And so the Lagos State Police image maker, Olanide Famous Cole, says this is a tacit warning to traffic robbers, both old and new. Jide, traffic robbery is as old as traffic wahala in Lagos.
Yes.
So this is, to me, more like curing the cause and not the, curing the effect and not the cause.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think?
But it's important to do something, because I remember when Ambode just took office, traffic robbery was very rampant in Lagos. In fact, some people made up their minds that anything after 7 p.m., they would not go out. The boys were literally on the loose. They were going around with jacks, clubs, and the rest, and other dangerous weaponry. They will break your windshield or your side window. You break your car window and demand to be given money, sometimes at gunpoint as well. So, and they were always moving in groups of 5 or 6. So if you attacked a robber who tried to steal something from your car, others will just pounce on you and overpower you. So it became a big problem, and many people actually lost confidence in Governor Ambode. But after he provided equipment, patrol vehicles, and the rest for the police, the presence of the police on major highways, even sometimes just putting their car along those major highways, served as a deterrent, and that problem came down drastically. The rate of robbery on Lagos highways came down drastically. But we are beginning to see
and lighting streets, lighting major streets.
Yes, lighting Lagos streets. Yeah. Yes, that's also helped. But the boys are beginning to rob again on Lagos roads, because just as the Commissioner of Police observed, we are approaching the end of the year. Even thieves want to enjoy Christmas.
Why not?
And they can only enjoy Christmas by stealing and saving for the rainy day. The rainy day in this case is the Christmas. So they want to steal from you and I, so that as you plan to enjoy Christmas, they too can actually set aside 1 or 2 days to enjoy like the rest of us. Yeah. So, but now the police in Lagos are saying, no, we are not going to give you the latitude to return to Lagos roads and be robbing people at will. So that's why they poured a lot of policemen onto the highways. They are increasing their patrols to make life difficult for those boys. The commissioner said that he is working even with about 6,000 informal security groups, about 6,000 of them, including vigilantes and all that, so that Lagos can be a lot safer. Right. I'm sure that if they continue to do this and they target all those major highways, K2, Mile 12, Lagos Badagry Expressway, Ikorodu Expressway, Agemuto Road, and the rest of them.
The police sure knows the black spots. Lekon, it is said society prepares the crime, the criminal commits it. But we still, in a manner of speaking, we still keep preparing the crime, if you understand what I mean.
I understand you. Let me tell you straight away that this morning, somebody stole my phone.
Oh.
A Samsung Galaxy Note. This morning. I'm telling you that despite what...
You must be missing somebody.
Oh, yes. Despite what the Commissioner of Police has done, they still... I'm talking about myself. I don't know who else has been robbed today. You know, I think you are saying that, are we running this economy well? It is not to say that, oh, people are justified to steal. But we often hear the statement that devil finds work for the idle. I remember when we just arrived, before we went on air, you and Emeka were discussing about energy, electricity, that if there was energy, most of the industries that are dead right now ought to be functioning profitably. So a lot of people can't be engaged. Even people who want to go and do SMEs, you know, their own small-scale enterprises. The infrastructure in the country cannot even carry their business. When they do it, I have seen a lot of people start businesses with fanfare. In the course of 3, 4, 5 years, they just can't go on. Interest rate is, the floor is 14% of interest rate. By the time you have the spread, you are looking at 25 to 30%. Who is going to do that kind of business? You depreciate the Naira by 33%. That is inflation right there. Plus the budget is saying that by next year, they will be able to the threshold for interest for inflation will be 12.4%. You're already upping the stacking the odds against businessmen, you know. And you just talked about buying diesel for your generator in the house and how difficult it is for you to do that. So if we are going to run the economy, that's why Nigerians are running away to other countries.
Yeah.
And some people are dying in boats, and people are going to Libya, and they are becoming slaves and all that.
Emeka, you know, it's a two-way street. Policing is a two-way street. Before now, it had been information is not forthcoming from the policed public and so on. And the public would tell you, we cannot give information for fear of their lives, fear for their lives and so on.
Yes.
Police needs to, you know, bring back this confidence at a time like this. It goes beyond just policing Nigerians at Christmas time.
Yeah, of course. I do believe that the police still has that reward scheme that's been there for ages. You know, getting information from informants. But basically, the citizens are the best police force you can get anywhere. You know, because the uniform police, they are not God. They cannot be everywhere. You know, but it's the people. The people.
Sorry, I don't want to miss that.
Okay.
You're telling me about something close to the whistleblower thing for the police.
Yes, for the police.
Because
if you attach some reward to information, you know, I mean, that if people give information, they'll get some reward. I believe it will help greatly in bringing down crimes. You know, if you look at a place like New York, you know, there was a time they had a serious problem with street crime. So the authorities had to involve the people. They had to involve the people. And then I remember there was a time I spoke with a security advisor to a mayor in a U.S. city, you know, and I was asking him, that was in 2008.
How do you do it?
I was asking him, how do you do it? Okay, this city is a city of 80,000 people, but how do you do it? How do you take care of crime? We're discussing, and he was saying that one thing that you need to do is command presence. You must have command presence. What the Lagos State Police Command is doing now, you have APCs, you have patrol vans, you have patrol vehicles here and there. But it's not enough. The police need to go into the inner cities, the shanties. There are so many shanties everywhere.
Emeka, you would have thought that the neighborhood security system would fill in the void. Don't you think so?
Yeah, but that's why I said, no matter how many security personnel you put on ground, you must make the people feel a sense of duty that, okay, we have a role to play in making us secured. Yeah. It's not as if we just fold our arms and let the RRS do their job. After all, that's why they are paid. Let the vigilantes do their job. That's why they are paid. No. We all must be part of the system.
It's everybody's business.
It's everybody's business. Security is everybody's business.
Yeah.
And John, let me add to,
okay.
Because I recall as a student in America, I was a vendor. And I was delivering magazines to some houses. And it was raining. And I had a car. I would open the gate, drive in, and throw the newspaper or magazine into their garage and drive out. And I was doing that from house to house because I didn't want the magazines to get spoiled. And after about 15 to 20 minutes, a policeman came and blocked me. And I said, what's that? He said, neighbors are saying that there's somebody driving into houses and coming out. Vigilant neighbors, But when he found out who I was now, he said, and I told him I was a student. He said, what school? I told him. He said, where am I working? I told him. Right there, he contacted my school. They confirmed I was a student. He contacted the job place. They confirmed that I was on errand for the company, and I was let to go. What I'm trying to say is that just to confirm what Emeka is saying, that the citizens themselves, they have a job. It's not just the police, because police works on information, and the people must be willing, citizens must be prepared to assist.
Judy, this problem of confidence in policing will always arise when, if a felon is, grabbed by the police, 2-3 days after, he's back. And so confidence is lost.
Yes, it's such a big problem, because I'll give you the example of the kidnappers on the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. That's the most dangerous highway in the country now when it comes to kidnapping. They're always targeting those politicians in Abuja and all that. And the people living in those villages along that road, they will give information to the police about some notorious kidnappers living with them. After a few days, those guys will be released by the police. They will now go for the informants. They had killed a number of informants like that. So what the current IG did was to now transfer policemen along the Abuja yes. He replaced them, and after that, the people now began to, their confidence grew. So they began to work more with the police because it brought new people, those who had not been compromised by those kidnappers, those big-time kidnappers along that highway. So by the time they got them changed, the people became more confident. So they will come out, provide information. Today, those kidnappers who used to operate on the Kaduna-Abuja highway, they have relocated. In fact, when one kidnapper was kidnapped in Katsina State, they ran away. They ran as far as Katsina State. So you hardly hear now of people being kidnapped on the Kaduna highway. They've relocated elsewhere. So because the people in the area provided information, the police were able to process the information provided as a way of nipping crime in the bud. Now, those guys have gone elsewhere. So the police need the trust of the people.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play with his own life. If I provide information, you must be able to protect my identity.
Yeah.
That way I will feel confident to constantly tell you whenever I see someone committing a crime in my area.
All right, I hear we must go on a break. And please keep your perspectives on. Regarding policing in this country, do you think you are properly policed? The debate can never end here. We'll be back. All right, then, welcome back. Now, PDP governors failed to agree on consensus. The People's Democratic Party, the erstwhile largest party on the African continent, continues to attract the headlines, even if for the most strange of reasons. Governors elected on its platform spent more than 7 hours at Enugu on Sunday without reaching a consensus on the chairmanship position ahead of the December 9th convention of the party. So a major conflict of interest is definitely at play here. Lekon, let me start with you. Listen, it is not yet Uhuru for the PDP.
Well, you know, it was reported that the chairmanship was zoned to the southwest. And then some people...
Did you say southwest or south?
Southwest.
Because that's still...
Southwest.
Okay.
Southwest. And then some people in the south are actually coming on strong, you know. And what I heard...
Are you surprised?
What I heard...
Yes.
What I heard, is that some of those people are considered to be very strong financially, who are not in the southwest, who are out of southwest zone. And so there's a confusion about how do we move forward, especially because if you recall that the SY chairman, Mudu
Sharif,
yeah.
Ali
was
Mudu
brought
Sharif.
in because of his financial
Muzzle, yeah.
muzzle.
Yeah.
So I think that's one dilemma, even though you and I know that governors do pitching, you know. It appears, and then the Southwest, I understand that there is an issue, I think, was it yesterday, there was a peace pact, sort of,
Yeah.
and somebody did not show up at that peace pact.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, tells me that,
But he has signed the document.
you know, finally, okay, it tells you something. That's good. Maybe somebody has been able to persuade somebody to agree on some things. So, but one thing I do know, the culture of the Southwest will likely come up with a consensus.
Candidate.
Yes, among the Southwest. I like to think, very seriously that is possible.
You know, the name of the game, we are told, that's in politics, is partisanship. But partisanship must be measured, don't you think? Especially at a time like this, the PDP, this same PDP.
Yeah, you know, what really the people who are causing the problem in the party are the governors. The governors brought Ali Modu Sharif on the party, and they regretted it. Now, everyone knows that the Southwest is that zone that has yet to produce
The chairman of the party.
chairman of the party.
From 1999?
Yes. And the feeling, the popular feeling before now was let the Southwest produce the chairman of the party. Suddenly, the governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and his friend, Wike, the governor of Rivers State, the same people that brought Alimodu Sheriff, decided that they were going to support Uche Secondus for the chairmanship. Because Uche, before now, Uche did not show any interest. But Wike and Fayose were the people
drafted him.
Yes, who drafted him into the race. And you can see that Secondus is already campaigning. Now, where does that leave the Southwest? It's unfortunate that the governors could not agree on a candidate. They held a meeting in Enugu, but the meeting achieved nothing. The governor of Taraba State, Darius Ishaku Dixon, has been saying that, look, if this party is to survive, then the matter of its national chairmanship should not lead to rancor, that they must find a way to come together and agree on a candidate. That anything short of that, the PDP will slip into fresh crisis that they may never recover from. Because after the McCarthy camp won at the Supreme Court, a feeling that this party has a chance to bounce back was upon the members. But the governor of Taraba is warning that the chairmanship of the party could spark a fresh crisis if they do not find a consensus candidate. But right now, from the Southwest, there are so many people who are contesting.
So the consensus is not even there yet.
It's not that they've thrown it open now, because they couldn't find, the governors especially could not agree on a candidate. And they've not been able to stop people like Dokpesi from leaving the race for the Southwest. He is from the South-South, from Edo State. He's interested. They've not been able to, in any case, they brought Secondus. So those two governors are supporting Secondus, but other governors of the party are saying, we have already agreed that this thing should go to the Southwest. Remember that even when the party decided that, look, for the 2019 election, the national chairmanship, the presidency should go to the North. Fayose has already come out to say he wants to contest. Even had a flamboyant declaration.
Launch, yeah,
so those things, the struggle for power, greed for power, which was what put the PDP in trouble in the first place and ensured that many of his powerful members left the party. We are beginning to see that now. Because
entrenched interest.
Yes. If you cannot agree, if a party cannot say, okay, we are zoning something to this part of the country, and then others agree that so be it, then you can be sure that they would, after that convention on December 9, the party will slip into even bigger crisis.
Emeka, quickly before I break, Senator Buruji Kashamu published an editorial yesterday. I saw it, I read it, and seems to believe that the interim chairman, that's McCarthy, is funding the palaver because of his interest in becoming the president. At this point, I cannot but recall the statement credited to Napoleon Bonaparte. He was a political strategist. He said, in politics, stupidity is not a handicap. If you understand my logic here.
Yes, I follow you. When the issue of zoning came out, that the presidential candidate will come from the north, and then that the running mate will come from the south, I felt somehow. Because you cannot play politics away from what looks like the trend. Right now, you have a president who is from the northwest. His deputy is from the southwest. You look at the issue of numbers. Look at a lot of those things. Now, will PDP go into the 2019 election with a Yoruba man as national chairman and then a running mate from the South-South? I don't know. It's my own calculation, but I feel that it may be somehow, I feel like Jide said, the greed for power may have made people just hastily decide that, okay, the national chairmanship should go to the Southwest. Yes, Southwest has now occupied since 1999, but for crying out aloud, you know, there is no elastic limit to when the Southwest can produce the national chairmanship.
I wonder if this can be stretched a little. The Southwest had produced the speaker, had produced well, the vice president had produced the presidency.
Yes, but has not produced the Senate president.
All right, I hear there must be another break here. Please don't go away. It's still the journalist Hangout on TVC. Please stay.
My name is Abdullahi Umar Ganouchi, the governor of Kano State. I do watch journalists hang out. I don't miss it. I ask you, please don't miss it. Thank you.
All right, welcome back. Now, we look at the last subject matter for the evening. Global human rights body Amnesty International has observed the resurrection of Boko Haram hostilities in the northeast of Nigeria has left no less than 381 fatalities between Nigeria and Cameroon since April 2017. The data cannot be independently confirmed, but the figures are disturbing to say the least, Jide. Yeah. These figures...
They are really disturbing figures. In the northeast alone, Boko Haram has killed 223 Nigerians between April and now. Between April and now. They've killed 223 Nigerians. Out of the 381 that we're talking about, I think the people they have killed in Cameroon are definitely not as many as the people that they killed in Nigeria. Of course, Borno State is the epicenter of the insurgency, but Boko Haram, being an international terror organization, remains active in Cameroon's north. You know, that's where they kidnapped the wife of the deputy prime minister some time ago. They remain active, and they have the Al-Qaeda who speak excellent French. They continue to kidnap Cameroonian soldiers. They kill Cameroonian soldiers. They attack communities in Cameroon. So what this tells us is that the group is still active. The group is far from being defeated. 223 Nigerians being killed in just about 6 months. It should worry anyone, because every time they attack a community, they kill people, set their houses ablaze. They are creating more and more problems of, they are creating more IDPs as the days go by, because once they set ablaze your houses, where do you live? People are now forced to leave those communities to go and live with relations outside of, I mean, maybe in the state capital and all that. That's why the IDPs are still bursting at the seams with people, with stranded people, with people who do not know where to go. The governor of Borno State said sometime last year that he was going to close the IDPs in May this year.
May, yeah.
And I remember saying that, I think you were on the program too, that the man could not be serious, because where people are reluctant to go back to their communities, because those communities still remain unsafe.
Yeah, but the governor could have been acting on information.
No, he wasn't. What he was not happy with the extent of criminality in the IDP camps. In the IDP camps, you have rapists. We have even policemen and soldiers who are supposed to guide the IDPs, sexually molesting them. We have robbers within the IDP camps. Yeah. We have people, even women, who are prostitutes, you know, in the IDP camp. Some of them, will, once they get an opportunity, they will go out of the camp to go and prostitute. And when you ask them, they say, look, that the guards are always asking for money and all that. Sometimes the guards themselves will deny them food unless they sleep with them. Yeah, so this is the problem. Dozens and dozens of communities in Borno State are unoccupied as we speak now. Human beings are not there because the people dread returning home. You could return home today and you hear that the Boko Haram could strike maybe the next day. Yeah. So that's why they are really worried.
Lekon, there was supposed to be a tripartite agreement amongst these three countries, Nigeria, Chad, and Cameroon. Has that broken down?
Well, let me just put it like this, that I have not heard a lot about that in some time. And apart from the regular propaganda that you hear, but more importantly, my take on this is this. It appears to me that conventional method will not solve this problem. And I would have thought that we will look at espionage, a different approach, where Secret Service men will move in, gather information. I mean, think about it. These human beings are on a physical location, one way or the other. They may be scattered, but they are on Earth somewhere within this region. And it has boundaries. Does it mean that there is no way that the government can raise a force of intelligence to find out the movement of those people? Especially when, according to you, that it's supposed to be tripartite. Don't forget that Cameroon soldiers sent some Nigerians back home the other day. So I'm not very sure that this so-called tripartite agreement is really strong.
Emeka, counterinsurgency, I hear, is a whole discipline, and so that must be missing here. Otherwise, yes, we have agreed, Boko Haram's tactics are not conventional, but we still are playing catch-up here. So there's the milestones ahead are full of landmines.
Yeah, that's why we need to, in my view, change strategy. I believe we need to look at the issue of dialogue, possibly, deepening the aspect of dialogue to see if there are
dialogue with who?
With Boko Haram, yes.
Is it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Yes.
Gentlemen, dialogue with terrorists.
But you keep having fatalities.
Who do you talk to? Who?
But you talk to people and they release the Chibok girls. You talk to people and you had people you are rehabilitating right now. So I think that process should also be deepened, with promises. I think government can broaden its promises, bring in some more incentives to take more people away from Boko Haram, to get some maybe repentant, to get more Boko Haram members, repenting and turning away.
De-radicalizing.
De-radicalizing them, maybe doing a lot of extensive propaganda, extensive propaganda in such a way that the government will gain the upper hand, will gain the edge. Of course, we know about war propaganda, whereby it's like, okay, using radio effectively, to confuse the enemy, to disorient the enemy, I think all these strategies should be put on the table because the Boko Haram insurgency is costing us a lot of money. And look at the fatalities. Right now, Chad is unhappy because of the U.S. travel ban. So Chad is very angry. It's even threatening to pull out of the Trans-Sahel cooperation with the United States and countries in the Sahel. The Chadian president is really angry at that travel ban. So Cameroon has never really been serious with this fight. You remember there was a time, was it not last year, that people donated money and foodstuff, and it was all looted. It was looted. So basically, Nigeria has been funding these counterinsurgency the operations. Then if you look at the multinational joint task force, they're also crying of funding. They're crying for lack of funding. So everything rests on the shoulders of the Nigerian leadership. And it's a big burden. It's a big burden on our economy. And look at people dying in their hundreds. Yeah. So I think the strategy needs to be adjusted. I think they're doing well. But the point is this: we are losing soldiers. We lost a lot of soldiers in Liberia and Sierra Leone. Now we are repeating the same episode, losing a lot of soldiers. And I'm really worried. We cannot continue to have this high turnover of well-trained soldiers. Something, I think, they need to tweak the strategy a bit.
Yeah. Jide, what cannot go away easily is this fact, crazy, that there are folks who will gain from organized chaos. And so you're wondering, to what avail? Is it money, influence, what?
When you are talking about the terrorists, remember, this is an ideology. And where you're talking about ideology, you can even bring all the money in the world to them. In trying to negotiate with them, they will not take your money. Because as far as they are concerned, what they are doing is right. As far as they are concerned, what they are doing is what will take them to paradise, where so many women, virgins are waiting.
No, don't go into it. We have heard that.
That is what, you see, where that is what is used in hoodwinking these people, in luring them to take to criminality. They tell them, oh, so about 75 virgins are waiting somewhere. I've always demanded that we should come up with a counter strategy in terms of propaganda that will effectively deal with the lies and the fake promises that the shekels of this world are making to young people and using it, and using it to lure them to come and fight on their side. Because look, the military strategy alone cannot deliver victory. Because we've tried it. We've seen clearly now that it cannot deliver victory. These guys continue to get converts. They continue to recruit fresh cadres. How are they able to do it? Have we tried to stop them having access to young people that they can use to fight our people? Because these boys, a lot of them are from Borno State. People know them. Suddenly someone leaves his home and the next thing you hear is already fighting on the side of Boko Haram. And we've not also been able to find a way to stop the funding of this group. For every major fight that Boko Haram gets involved in, so much money is provided to pay the fighters. Because I remember when we had that battle for Giwa Barracks, that the Air Force eventually rescued us from the hands of Boko Haram, Giwa Barracks in 2014. Yes. At the end of the fight, a sack full of foreign currency was found in the premises of the barracks, which was supposed to be shared to these boys after the fight. So the Nigerian security operatives impounded that money. Where do they get the money that they are using to sustain this war against our country? These guys, the other camp, the Al-Banawi faction, led by the first son of Mohammed Yusuf, is affiliated to ISIS. What that means is that ISIS will continue to funnel funds to these guys, with which they can buy weapons on the black market, with which they can recruit people. Chadian rebels are available for them to recruit and all that. So we need to address this different ways.
We cannot but look back at the humble beginnings of Boko Haram. Was it not avoidable then? And now, is it not easy to stem the tide?
Look, a professor in Harvard University about a decade ago came out with this theory that after the collapse of communism, the next problem area or the next problem subject in the world is going to be religion. And ISIS has proved him right, and what we're experiencing in Somalia has proved him right, and what we are experiencing in Nigeria has proved him right. I am surprised that the National Orientation Agency comes up with silly propaganda. Has never found it necessary to go to the
The word silly is
hate speech.
okay. Okay.
Is that hate speech? Now, I would have thought that they will approach the professors in the mass communications departments of Nigerian universities to come up with communication strategies, propaganda strategies to de-radicalize some of these boys and to prevent those who are not yet on the, shall we say, on the pay list or payroll of Boko Haram. You know, each time I listen to some of the so-called propaganda they are putting out on TV or radio or even the press, I am not impressed. They are not talking to the right people. Even their communication is not actually speaking to anybody. And so I think it's a waste of money. There were some that passed through the, inherited from the Jonathan administration. You heard them on TV. You know, even the voice-over was done by a foreigner to start with. So it's already defeated to start with. You know, I would have thought that the voice scene of such would have been done by a voice from that part of the country. It would sound as if one of our brothers is talking. You understand? So I'm not too impressed by the various strategies that we are using.
Emeka, so Leko has set agenda, a new agendum for the National Orientation Agency.
Yeah, which we have discussed here before.
Yeah. So it cannot be over-discussed. Let's touch on it briefly.
Yeah, no, of course. I had said it from 2009 that the National Orientation Agency must play a key role in this battle.
At a time like this.
At a time like this. National Orientation Agency, why isn't there a radio, a special radio station operating in the desert?
Yeah, the Nigerian Army has an FM station.
No, I mean, is it in Abuja? I thought it's in Abuja.
In Northeast. In the Northeast.
In the Northeast.
Yes, Operation Lafia Dole has a radio and FM station.
Yeah, but
who is running it?
But how effective?
Soldiers running it.
But I think National Orientation
Agency with specialists, with communication specialists.
They need the National Orientation Agency to run that radio station because it is to achieve a purpose. You have to radicalize people. Then again, it also has to help you in ring-fencing the enemy.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, disorienting them and in helping you push your strategy. You cannot just wait until they attack villages and then you go on counter-attack. You know, with the right propaganda, you can even make them afraid and they flee without firing a single shot. So I believe that a lot of these things need to be put in the hands of the right people. The National Orientation Agency must do its bit. Then the Federal Ministry of Information, it needs to get its information officers out. They need to go out and find out how information can be channeled in a way that will help the Nigerian military.
Yeah. Jide, and you keep reminding yourself or asking yourself if we are not living in Orwellian times, where you have the animal farm, all these things playing out in peacetime, Jide.
Yes.
Supposed peacetime.
It's supposed to be peacetime, but for people in the Northeast, for people in the occupied areas occupied by Boko Haram, because Boko Haram still occupies some Nigerian communities, it is not peacetime. It is not peacetime. People live in constant fear in that part of the country. And they've taken away not just their means of livelihood, they've taken away their loved ones. Many people have been turned to orphans, many women have been turned to widows, and vice versa.
Because of this, their humanity has also been removed.
Yes, of course, of course. There is a town called Dikwa in Borno State. That's the headquarters of the old Kanem Borno Empire.
Okay.
People have fled. The last time we went to that area, it was one 90-year-old woman that was left in that whole town. And the woman said, I'm waiting for them to kill me. They should come and kill me. I will not leave this place. Every able-bodied man had fled. There are many communities like that. Bita, if you go to Bita, anyone you see must be a Boko Haram member. Communities. The other day, I showed video of Malam Fatori. Nobody is living there. Nobody. That was where Colonel Abu Ali was killed. People have fled. People have fled. Because it's Abadan as well. People have fled. Not one person living in those communities. Boko Haram has destroyed the fabric of the Bono society. And now what we need to do, because when he was talking about the multinational joint task force, the biggest problem is funding. Why did Chad pull out his troops from Baga that first time? Yeah. Enabling Boko Haram to invade the town and slaughter almost 2,000 people because of funding. They are saying that when Nigeria is not providing enough money, we are not even providing the right level of troops. We are not contributing the right level of troops into the multinational joint task force. So Chad withdrew at that time. Somehow we got France to talk to them, and then they came back and even decided to fight within Nigeria. Now they are back to their country, and the Chadian president is threatening not to get involved in this whole thing again. And if Chad stops getting involved in this war, we are in trouble because we have extensive borders with Chad. Those guys will be able to come in, even as we speak. A lot of
in the Lake
Chad area. All those countries, Cameroon, Niger, and Chad, we share the Lake Chad waters with them. So these people, rebels from outside of Nigeria, come in. In the past, Nigerian soldiers have arrested Boko Haram members that the people arrested could not speak a word of Nigerian language, meaning that fighters are streaming in through the borders from Chad. Fighters are streaming in from the far kingdom, the far in Niger Republic. The far prefecture, what do they call it? From that place, coming into Nigeria and fighting.
Unchallenged.
Yes, fighting on the side of Boko Haram. So it's terrible. This is a war that we must win, but we can only win with the right strategies. For now, these guys, unless something drastic happens, they will continue to kill our people as they've always done. Because for many Nigerians, we even think that we have achieved victory. Meanwhile, there are still hundreds of our people who are suffering, who are still held captive. I saw a video of Boko Haram man flogging a woman who was said to have contravened Islamic law in one of the towns in the Lake Chad area. That area is literally a no-go area. So they are in charge of that area, and they were flogging the woman. Do we know how many people are living in bondage in Nigeria, within Nigeria, and in the hands of Boko Haram? So we must do our best to exterminate these people. It is possible, because when you see what Iraq has done with ISIS, you know that it is possible to defeat the terrorists.
Yes. With American help.
Yes.
With American help.
I know that yes, with American help.
Yeah.
But when we can defeat them, we can defeat them on our own, and using our neighbors.
Yeah.
Chad especially, getting the cooperation of Chad.
Gentlemen, is it out of place to now go back to when America, Germany, France, and I think the Dutch came to help, but they left? You remember this?
Yeah.
So is it odd to go back there?
Why did they go back? Why did they leave? I was just thinking about something that I think the Nigerian army itself needs to check itself for faith columnists. 1, 2. I mean, the last 2 years, we've been reading in newspapers how top military brass were diverting funds meant for this operation into personal use. You understand? I think these issues, these moral issues, and this issue of faith columnists, we need to first correct it among ourselves first.
The ones who provide information about movement of troops
because
to Boko Haram.
Because I recall that, was it 2014 or whenever, that some Americans came in. It was reported or rumored, let me put it like that, that the advances was reported to the Boko Haram and they knew. You just mentioned this officer who was killed.
Abu Ali.
There were reports that,
Of course,
somebody knew how and he ran into an ambush.
Yeah.
No, he didn't run into an ambush. There was a fight against Boko Haram in Malam Fatori. We had won the fight. And then he didn't know that some of the Boko Haram elements were still in the area. When he came out of his tank to try to survey his area, know some of his troops who were still alive, discover those who were injured, then he was shot in the back. Not that it was an ambush, it was a pitched battle. We had fought them that night because they came around 10 p.m. Boko Haram likes to fight in the night because some of them have night vision goggles. Some of the equipment that we don't have, they have. So the battle has been won.
An organized group.
Yes. Yeah. If I show you a video of Boko Haram operating in Cameroon, you see the Boko Haram fighter speaking French throughout and even showing pictures of Cameroonian generals and soldiers that they killed. Because they are very active in Cameroon.
Those
just that it doesn't get reported as much as
brand new
they
vehicles.
do here.
Those pickup vehicles, they are brand new vehicles. Just look at the shots.
Some of them stolen from Nigeria.
But what about, I don't know, what the strategy that Jonathan used, where he used the mercenaries to fight these guys? How about
but Buhari would not agree to bring a mercenary into Nigeria. In fact, he was angry after he became president. He said, how are the mighty falling? Why should foreign troops come and fight in Nigeria? He was referring to Chadian troops that came to help us reclaim some.
But we're losing people, we're losing soldiers, we're losing civilians.
All right, then I hear we must pack it all in. Okay. But the subject matter cannot be exhausted in one breath. Let's just say in war, it is not about who is right or who is wrong. It's about how many are left. And so this is a time when we talk about a national consensus. Boko Haram is a national embarrassment. But that's it on Journalist Hangout for today. Join us tomorrow for another interesting episode of the program. Watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. You can also watch Journalist Hangout on other platforms showing on the screen and on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. All right, then, Journalist Hangout at TVC News is another platform. I am Jones Hussein on behalf of my colleagues Lekon Shote, right? Emeka Madonago and Babajide Otitoju. I thank you all for coming.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye now.